In 1761, Voltaire wrote a line so good it strangled 1,000 years of history. The Holy Roman Empire, he said, was in no way holy, nor Roman, nor an empire. It's a great joke. It's also the reason most people think this thing was a joke. So let's do something unfashionable. Let's take it seriously. Here's the problem. When we look at Central Europe in 1700, we're looking for France. A capital, a king, an army, a border you could draw with one line. We find none of that. We find roughly 300 territories, kingdoms, duchies, prince-bishoprics, abbeys ruled by women, cities that answered to nobody, and knights whose entire realm was one castle and a hill. And we conclude this was chaos, a failed state. But it was never trying to be a state. It was a legal order, a machine for managing conflict between unequal parties without letting them destroy each other. And for most of its life, it worked. Forget dates for a moment. Yes, Charlemagne in the year 800. Yes, Otto the Great in 962. But the empire people actually lived in, the one with courts, committees, and paperwork, took shape after 1495. That empire had four moving parts: an emperor, elected, not born; an imperial diet, the Reichstag, where its members argued; imperial courts, where they sued each other instead of killing each other; and 10 imperial circles, the regional plumbing that made it all enforceable. Let's take them one at a time. The emperor was elected. That single fact bends everything else. Since the Golden Bull of 1356, the right to choose him belonged to 7 men: 3 archbishops, Mainz, Cologne, and Trier, and 4 laymen: Bohemia, the Palatinate, Saxony, and Brandenburg. Later, Bavaria and Hanover joined them. First among them, Mainz, the empire's arch-chancellor. He convened the electors and presided over the diet, functionally the chairman of the board. Before a man could sit down, he signed the wall capitulation, the electoral capitulation, a contract of things the emperor promised not to do. No new taxes without the diet, no wars without the diet, no stripping a prince of his lands without a trial. So what was left? Quite a lot. He alone granted fiefs, created nobles, and was the fountain of legitimacy, a currency you could spend. And he commanded the loyalty of the small, tiny counts, abbeys, and free cities, who knew he was all that stood between them and their large, hungry neighbors. The emperor was weak against the strong, and strong against the weak. That was not a bug. That was the equilibrium. The diet was where the empire talked to itself. But first, the load-bearing concept, imperial immediacy, Reichsunmittelbarkeit. It means your only overlord is the emperor himself. Nobody stands between you and him. If you had immediacy, you were an imperial estate, a Reichsstand, and you had a seat. A peasant obviously did not, but neither did an imperial knight, despite holding his land directly from the emperor. Immediacy without a seat. Rights, but no vote. The empire was full of these distinctions, and they mattered enormously to the people inside them. Inside, the diet split into 3 chambers, 3 colleges. They did not sit together. They deliberated separately in different rooms and passed notes. The College of Electors, small, ancient, powerful. 8 men, each with 1 vote, chaired by Mainz. The College of Princes, sprawling. Here the arithmetic gets strange. A great prince held a full vote of his own. But the small fry were bundled into groups, each casting 1 collective vote between them. 60 counts, 1 vote. That is what proportional representation looked like before anyone had invented it. The College of Cities, Nuremberg, Augsburg, Frankfurt, Hamburg, rich, literate, and constitutionally humiliated. Their binding vote wasn't even formally acknowledged until 1648, and in practice, the other two colleges often just handed them the result. So how did anything pass? Follow the paper. The emperor submits an agenda. The Kaiserliche Proposition. It drops into the machine. Each college debates it separately. Electors and princes must reach a joint position. If they can't, nothing moves. If they can, it becomes the Reichsgutachten, the considered opinion of the empire. The emperor may ratify or refuse. Ratified, it becomes a Reichsschluss, binding law. Everything passed in a session was bound into a final recess, a Reichsabschied, the last one, 1654. Because in 1663, the Diet convened at Regensburg and simply never went home. The Perpetual Diet, from 1663 to 1806, a permanent congress of ambassadors, not princes, their lawyers. The empire had invented the diplomatic conference and then forgot to end it. The Reformation should have destroyed all this. It nearly did. When a chamber votes by majority and the chamber splits into two irreconcilable faiths, majority rule is just the larger faith conquering the smaller one by procedure. Westphalia, 1648, produced one of the strangest procedural inventions in European history, Itio in partes, going into parts. On any matter touching religion, either confession could simply refuse to be a minority. The Diet split into two bodies, the Corpus Catholicorum and the Corpus Evangelicorum, each deliberating alone, negotiating toward an amicable agreement. It was slow, it was maddening, and after a century of religious slaughter, it meant nobody had to fight a war to avoid being outvoted. In 1495, the empire outlaws private war, the eternal land peace. Feuding, the ancient right of every armed nobleman to settle a grievance with a raid, is abolished forever. But you cannot simply abolish violence. You have to give people somewhere else to put it. So the empire built two supreme courts, the Reichskammergericht, the Imperial Chamber Court, staffed by professional jurists, controlled by the estates, and famous for taking decades to decide anything, and the Reichshofrat in Vienna, the emperor's own council, faster, cheaper, and, princes complained, rather too convenient for the man who paid the judges. Now the thing that should genuinely astonish you, these courts heard cases brought by subjects against their own rulers. A village could sue its count. A guild could sue its prince-bishop. Peasants took their lords to the empire's supreme court and won, and often the count paid. Not because the court had an army, because he was embedded in a system where his own title, lands, and standing rested on that same court's authority. Break the machine, and you break your own claim to everything. But sometimes he didn't pay. Then the empire needed muscle. Enter the Imperial Circles, 10 regional associations, drawn up by 1512, Swabia, Franconia, the Upper Rhine, the Lower Saxon Circle. The circles were the empire's operating system. They collected imperial taxes. They policed the coinage. A duke debasing his currency was everybody's problem. They kept the peace, raised troops, and executed the verdicts of the imperial courts. Refuse a judgment, and your neighbors, bound by the circle and delighted at the excuse, could enforce it. Refuse hard enough, and the emperor pronounced the Reichsacht, the imperial ban. You lose your titles, your lands, the protection of law. Anyone may kill you. It was used rarely. That was rather the point. Let's be honest about what this was. It was slow. A chamber court case could outlive the plaintiff, the defendant, and the lawyer. It was profoundly unequal. 60 counts sharing one vote, while Brandenburg had its own. It was riddled with privilege and men arguing for 11 months about who got to sit where. And it kept several hundred small polities alive in the middle of a continent where large predatory monarchies were swallowing everything they could reach. In the age of Louis XIV, it is not nothing to be a small state that still exists. It did not rot from within. It was demolished from without. Revolutionary France took the left bank of the Rhine. In 1803, the empire performed radical surgery on itself, the Reichsdeputation's Hauptschluss. Nearly every church territory dissolved, nearly every free city absorbed. In one document, the empire deleted the very estates that had most depended on it. Napoleon peeled off 16 German princes into his Confederation of the Rhine. They renounced the empire. There was now no empire left to renounce. On the 6th of August 1806, Francis II laid down the imperial crown, dissolved the empire, and released every member from their obligations to him. He did it deliberately, so that Napoleon could not take the title for himself. The last act of an office whose whole purpose had been to keep something out of the wrong hands. So, was Voltaire right? He was being funny, and he was being French, and he was writing in an age that had decided the nation-state was the only serious way to organize human beings. Judged as a nation-state, the Holy Roman Empire is a farce, but judge it as what it actually was: a supranational legal order with a shared court system, a permanent standing Congress of member states, an elected head who could not act without their consent, protection of small members against large ones, and a hard rule that some questions can never be settled by simple majority. And it starts to look less like a medieval curiosity and more like something we're still trying to build. It lasted 1,000 years. It ended without a civil war. Most states should be so lucky.